welcome to Road Rants. Well, I'm sure what I'm about to talk about today isn't going to be news to very many of you. I'm sure you're aware of what's been going on, but just in case you're not, let me inform you that Amy Winehouse is no longer with us. I will try to go on. Hey, Dina Cola, I think you're being sarcastic there when you say you'll try to go on. I don't think you really care at all that Amy Winehouse is dead. You got me. Ooh, that's pretty callous, Dina Cola. Don't you have any compassion or sympathy? No! I have no compassion or sympathy for anybody, really, but especially not someone like Amy Winehouse. Come on, Dina Cola, what do you have against Amy Winehouse? What did she ever do to you? She interrupted my day by being in the fucking news, okay? I don't need to hear about this shit. How long has it been now that whenever you open Hotmail or AOL Mail or something like that, wherever they have, you know, the latest gossip and updates and everything and all this other bullshit, that how long has it been now that every goddamn time you open a site like that, when you want to just check your mail and you're being notified that Amy Winehouse is again stoned and drunk and acting like a f***head in public? I don't need to know this information, okay? I live in New York. If I want to see some stoned, drunk f***head running around, I'll just go into the city at night. I mean, it's not bad enough that the music sucks. I gotta hear about this idiot running around sucking on a crack pipe, falling down all over the place wherever she goes. I gotta see those pictures of her looking like just a fucking wasted piece of shit. Listen, I always say you shouldn't judge people by their appearances, but when someone looks like they haven't bathed in a couple of months, haven't slept in days, got writing all over themselves, eyes not pointing in the same direction, I think that says a lot. For anybody that thought she was even remotely attractive, you need to get some standards, okay? As the late, great George Carlin put it, I wouldn't her with a stolen dick. Especially not now, because she's dead, and that's called necrophilia, and I'm not into that kind of thing. Yeah, good sucker, just make a U-turn right across the major street. It's really sick to see a creature like that passing as a human being. Seriously, people, if you look like that, don't go out in public, okay? Now, in case you haven't guessed this, not only do I not care that Amy Winehouse is dead, I don't care if anybody's upset by her being dead. Her family, her friends, that is dealers, her fans, anybody. I don't care, because I speak the truth regardless of anything else. And here's the truth for you. Amy Winehouse was a f***ing loser, piece of shit junkie. That's all. You don't like it? Too bad. That's the truth. Loser, piece of shit junkie. Musician, please, have you heard that shit? The little I have heard of it has been horrible, all right? I can't figure out if she was serious with things like, you know I'm no good, whatever it's called, in rehab. I mean, are you making a joke of it? Is it supposed to be serious? Are you giving the finger to the idea that you ever stopped doing crack? I don't know. Don't care. I mean, is anybody really surprised about the road she went down? Seriously. You know, there are some people that get tangled up in drugs and go down a bad path, and a lot of them die from it. And there are some people that it's just, you can't expect anything else from them. She chose her death a long time ago, all right? She chose the way her life would end. I say all the time, you do certain things, you're making a choice that this is the way your life is going to end. And that's what she did. Anybody that couldn't tell that Amy Winehouse would die from drugs is f***ing stupid. That's all there is to it. Hey, come on, Dina Cola, be fair. The cause of her death is as yet undetermined. Well, I hope they've got an expert medical team over there to crack that case. I don't know if they did an autopsy on her, but I can see how that's going, you know? Doctor comes out of the room, he's like, Doctor, have you been doing crack? No, I just did an autopsy on Amy Winehouse. Apparently she's been cremated. They better be careful with those ashes. I'm sure they're extremely toxic. Shit, they're probably drug dealers looking to get a hold of them. Imagine how much money they could make off that. A bong full of Amy Winehouse. Ooh, that's incredibly disrespectful to a dead person. I don't care. Listen, if you think that's hideous and depraved, is it any more hideous and depraved than what Amy Winehouse did to herself? I mean, bad music aside, I just don't understand what it would motivate a human being, I think she was a human being, to do that kind of thing to themselves. I could not fathom destroying myself like that. True story, people, I have never touched a drug in my life, okay? I've been drunk twice, both times were by accident, and I tried a cigarette once, maybe twice, didn't enjoy it. I've never had a hit of a joint, never done cocaine, never shot it, never done anything. Nothing like that, never have, never will, okay? And if you're wondering why, it's because I have just a little bit too much respect for myself, okay? I'm just a little bit better than that. I have absolutely no interest in destroying myself for absolutely no fucking reason. If I want to die, I'll put a gun to my head and shoot myself, okay? I'm not going to slowly kill myself with drugs. I would certainly never do anything that would compromise my ability to make music. And that brings up something else that I'm sure some of you are already thinking. What about all the rock stars that I was probably a fan of that have died because of drugs? Well, there is a difference, but to be fair, there is no fucking excuse for doing drugs, all right? That's all there is to it. There is no excuse for what they call recreational drug use. I'm in favor of medical marijuana, but anything else, any kind of recreational drug use, you. I hate calling it recreational because that's not recreation. But I have plenty more to say about drugs. I'll save it for another rant. Point is this. There are some rock stars that I was a fan of that have died because of drugs. Most recently, probably Kevin DuBrow. Before that, there was Robin Crosby, the guitar player in Rant. I saw Def Leppard 2 days ago. Steve Clark died of drugs. And famously, Jimi Hendrix didn't die of an overdose, but if he wasn't, bombed out of his mind, he might have woken up when he puked. Now, I don't want to seem like I'm making an excuse for somebody, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not that big of a Hendrix fan. I have nothing but respect for Jimi Hendrix's music. I'm just not a big fan of it. However, I don't have respect for his drug use because it's not respectable behavior. Jimi Hendrix used drugs so he could stay awake, and the reason he wanted to stay awake was because in his mind, sleeping was a waste of time. Why would he want to sleep when he could be writing music? Now, I can't pretend to know what it was like inside of Jimi Hendrix's head, but I can tell you that as somebody who has a really difficult time writing music, and that's true, it's not easy for me to write at all, I constantly have music playing in my head. Constantly. So I can understand kind of what that's like. There are times where I'm falling asleep and I'm working on a song, and I don't want to go to sleep. I want to finish the song, but I can't stay awake. Then there are other guys that, and take it again from a working musician, I get pretty tired when I'm on stage for, an hour and a half. It's exhausting. So what happens to these kids that are in their 20s, all of a sudden they're big rock stars and they're playing 3, 4, 5 nights a week? Even before they're rock stars, just when they're, getting their name out and starting to build a fan base, and they're playing, and they're exhausted and they can't even stand up on stage. And some prick says to them, hey man, try some of this. This will keep you awake. That's what happens. It's not necessarily, oh, let's party. It has a lot to do with maintaining your energy levels. Again, though, that's not an excuse. The tiny redeeming thing that exists here is that these people were doing drugs to further their music, okay? It's the wrong way to do it. It was not a good idea. It was fucking stupid. But that's why they were doing it. Because they live and breathe music. And that's something, again, I can understand because I live and breathe music. Amy Winehouse lived and breathed drugs. I mean, which do you think you would have an easier time getting away from her? The microphone or the crack pipe? Well, probably either one now, because she's dead. I'm not going to stop with these mean jokes. There's some active rock stars that have very serious drug addictions that they're probably not going to kick. Axl Rose, great example. He's a f***ing idiot, and he's the biggest asshole in rock and roll. That's why nobody will work with him. At the very least, he was a great singer. The last times I heard him sing, his voice was just beat to shit. I'll tell you another great singer. A guy who doesn't get as much credit as he deserves for a singer, but a guy, some people, guys like Dio, like Halford, Steve Lee, their voices just don't age. They sound the same in their 40s and 50s as they did when they were in their 20s. There was another guy like that, and his name was Kevin DuBrow. And he coked himself to death because he was an idiot, but he was a great singer. I think there's something really wrong when you've been dead in your house for 6 days after you've been doing cocaine alone in your house by yourself, and you die, and they find you rotting 6 days later. There's something really wrong going on there. I'm not giving him a pass because I like some of Quiet Riot's music. If anything, it pisses me off. I would much rather have him alive. But again, like I said, great singer. Robin Crosby of Rat, great guitar player. Steve Clark, really good guitar player, participated in the writing and recording and performing of some of the greatest music of all time. Jimi Hendrix. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Jimi Hendrix, but I'm well aware that all the music that I enjoy, almost all of it, and almost all the music that I play would not exist if not for Jimi Hendrix. The point is, these individuals had something to contribute. They were not just loser piece of shit junkies. Amy Winehouse, I don't care how many Grammys she won or how much money she had, she was a loser, okay? A piece of shit junkie loser. No different than the guy you find behind the dumpster in the alley with a needle in his arm. No different at all. She just happened to stumble into the spotlight. That's all. Now, to be honest, I don't know her history. I don't know if she was on drugs before or after she got famous. Don't care either. My point is, it's no major loss, okay? If you are somehow a fan of her horrible music, well, then fine. Grieve a little bit. But don't be f***ing surprised and don't expect any sympathy for somebody that chose to end their life the way she ended her life, okay? Just because it wasn't necessarily a voluntary suicide doesn't mean that it wasn't a suicide. And I've already talked about suicide on this show. It's a different kind of thing, all right? If she was miserable and decided she couldn't take the suffering anymore, well, she brought it on herself. As a matter of fact, everybody whose life is ruined by drugs, that is by direct drug use, I'm not talking about if your mom's a junkie or something like that, you brought it on yourself. Whatever happens to you, you f***ing deserve. That's right, Amy Winehouse got what she deserved. Holy shit, what is with all this f***ing traffic? The simple bottom line is that the second that you light that crack pipe, you stick that needle in your arm, that you cut that line, sniff it up your nose, or whatever it is you're doing, you're f***ing stupid, okay? Stupid! Nobody with any kind of real intelligence does something like that. And don't talk to me, oh, I'm addicted, I can't stop, I can't help myself. You're the one who f***ing started. If you don't start, you don't get addicted. I'll never be addicted to drugs or alcohol because I don't do drugs and I don't drink. And don't talk to me about, oh, well, some people have addictive personalities. Listen, I don't know if I have an addictive personality or not. I really don't. You know why? Because I keep myself in control. Do I have the potential to become addicted to drugs or alcohol? I don't know. I never will know because I don't do drugs and I don't drink alcohol and I never f***ing will. People that fall into the pits of drug addiction and alcoholism bring it on themselves for starting it. Now, I do respect people that do clean themselves up. You know, that get off the bottle, that get off the pipe, whatever it is that they're doing. Ozzy cleaned himself up. Steven Tyler cleaned himself up. You know, he had some problems lately. Alice Cooper cleaned himself up. And, you know, that's good. I've known people personally that have cleaned themselves up. Great. But much better if you never started to begin with. So when you put that crack pipe in your mouth, just be aware that you're giving yourself a sentence. And when that sentence is carried out, you got what you deserve. You wouldn't have any sympathy for somebody that sees a pot of water boiling on the stove and sticks their face in it for no reason. The same way that I have no sympathy for someone who puts a crack pipe in their mouth. I have no sympathy for Amy Crackhouse, and her death doesn't piss me off. The fact that I'm aware of her existence pisses me off. I don't need to know about this. I don't need to know the life story of any junkie, okay? Oh, be fair, Dina Cole, she wasn't a junkie. She was a troubled star. Like Britney Spears is a troubled star, and Lindsay Lohan is a troubled star, and Charlie Sheen is troubled, and all these people are troubled. Robert Downey Jr. was troubled. Listen, I have sometimes some difficulty picking names out of the hat like that because I don't pay attention to these people, all right? But yeah, the stars aren't junkies, they're just troubled. I hate to break this to you people, but we're all troubled, okay? We all have troubles to deal with. Not all of us deal with our troubles by sticking a needle in our arm. Lindsay Lohan isn't troubled. She's a stupid, talentless piece of shit drunk. Does anybody remember Tara Reid? Probably not, and for good reason. Same deal. Shitney Spears? Let me tell you something. When you shave your head, crash your car, drive with a kid in your lap without a seatbelt, get tattoos, attack people with umbrellas, and do all kinds of things like that, you're not troubled, you're a fucking idiot. And that's all there is to it. I have no sympathy for these people because they bring it on themselves. Why didn't I mention Charlie Sheen more? I'll talk about him some other time. And as long as we're talking about morons on drugs that I don't care about, I can't forget probably the champion of them all, Courtney Love. Now you talk about a stupid, no-talent piece of shit junkie. Oh, but she's clean now. Yeah. Let's see how long that lasts, okay? I'm sure Courtney Love is really going to turn her life around because it's such a good life. I don't know why the media focuses on these losers, okay? That's all they are, losers. If Courtney Love hadn't married that dickhead, Kurt No-Brain, do you really think you'd know her name? Seriously? Do you think she'd still be around? You think she'd be on TV, on the news, on David Letterman acting like a f***ing idiot? Or do you think she would have died in an alley a long time ago? And as for Kurt No-Brain, I'll talk about him some other time, but simply put, he was a fucking loser. Amy Crackhouse, another fucking loser. Look, all I'm saying here is, media, just forget about these fucking losers, okay? I don't want to hear about any of them anymore, all right? Because there's nothing in it worth hearing. We've heard this story a million times before. We don't need to hear it again. These losers who ruin themselves with drugs. It's nothing new. It's nothing worth reporting. F*** them. I don't care about Amy Winehouse's Grammys or her fans or anything else. Shit. And like I said before, set the music aside. The music sucked. It's no loss. But set that aside. Piece of shit junkie. Having a Grammy does not negate the fact that you're a piece of shit junkie. Because let me tell you people, Grammys don't matter, money doesn't matter, fame doesn't matter, public adoration doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how you conduct yourself. When you act like a piece of shit, you should be treated like a piece of shit. I have no sympathy for her death. I don't care. She got what she deserved. This is the end she chose for herself. I'm not surprised. You shouldn't be either. And that's all. This has been Road Rants, people. I'll see you later.